Okay, gonna play some Conquest of Elysium today. Let's do a medium-sized map. And we'll go Empire, because it actually puts some interesting stuff on the map. And then I like just having these in case I want to look at them. I think all the other settings are fine. I'll add a couple more NPCs. And we'll change it to unique random player so that we don't get the same race or nations. What do I feel like playing? Could do the pale ones because I always enjoy playing them. But they're a little bit tedious to play. You know what? Sure, I'll play the pale ones. I always enjoy playing them. They're a little bit of a slower play style, but oh, cool! I got a ancient statue start. I don't think there'll be any enemies there. I hope not. I get some free loot right off the bat. Nice. What did I get? I got the Crown of the Bowl, which gives +1 strength to morale and HP and berserk. And that's a head item? Can he wear that? No, he can't. Limited to what he can wear. Just accessories and a weapon. Gonna have to find a dude that I would like to wear that. Could give a lot of this stuff to a scouting army, that'd be pretty good. It's not so good on my caster though. Because we don't want my caster berserking, because then I believe they don't cast spells while they're berserking. I'm not entirely sure. But it's more of a strength thing. Now my caster has like really high strength with all these items. But we will consider swapping that over on someone else. The big problem with the pale ones is that most of their melee guys are big dudes, so they don't get all the equipment slots. And their smaller dudes are the casters that don't want to be doing all the strength stuff. But I could get one of the smaller leaders to have that equipment. Okay, what do we have here? We got 2 slimes. I don't know if I really want to fight those at the moment. I'm going to use him to scout a little bit, since the pale ones kind of have a bad vision. Okay, we don't have much of the cave. There might be something down here. This is our way back up. Considering the wall says moist cave, we must be on the edge of the continent, because we're underground right now. The pale ones always start underground. But since there's some moisture here, either there's a lake right here, or this is the edge of Elysium. And then I don't have any money enough resources to purchase any units. Yeah, we could get one of these guys to equip all that stuff that we got. Those are all a bunch of unique stuff that is purchasable just for this round. I think we'll purchase the Scout. Because that gives the Pale Ones the ability to see stealthed units. Don't think we can take these guys on currently right now without losing a bunch of men. Okay, we just have a slime hanging down here with us. We're just gonna camp out here for a round just to grab this Scout. And then we're gonna head to the surface afterwards. Okay. So we're gonna lose access to this, which is gonna be mildly annoying. 'Cause I don't really want to fight those slimes at the moment, because they are going to kill a lot of my soldiers if I do so. Okay. We got a city. Is this a... What's in this location? A mystical column. Interesting. That must be one of the special event things. We only got 2 guys here. Doesn't look like the slime has taken my deep earth iron deposit yet, so we're still getting resources off of that. Okay, there's the ocean. Exactly what I thought was close by. Okay. So this will give us 2 more gold around. We can watch the battle real quick. It's not going to be all that entertaining. My men are just going to squish them super easy. Okay. We can clear out some of these enemies in the area just so they're not roaming around. Or we can do a little scout. I think I'll take out the large giant mantis just so that he doesn't take back or neutral cap the coastal hamlet so that I can constantly get the 2 gold off of that. Now in a normal game you would have to worry about clearing this because it'd have a chance to go to your capital. And unless you are purchasing units to defend your capital. But I have a mod installed that gives these like basic defensive units. These things are quite deadly and can really destroy, but these things are immobile. You can't move them around. They're stationary. They'll never move. I don't know why this guy's here. I think to give morale bonuses to these things. But he's useful because you can, if you get items that appear sometimes when you capture settlements and stuff, you have a chance to when you get stuff like this, you have a chance to get or is it these cities? I'm not sure. Might be the other ones. Yeah, it's not, I don't know if it's these ones. They have a chance to they give you this like little buff up here that tells you that you have a chance to get mercenary units as well as items. And when you purchase items, you have to have a commander, or you have to have some kind of unit that can equip it. And so this guy, you know, since he has all the slots available, is quite nice to pick up any equipment that you need. Mainly, I wouldn't care. I don't mind playing the game a little bit slower. If you don't have this mod installed, you pretty much have to hang around your capital city for like the first like 5 to 6 rounds while you stockpile enough gold to have some basic units defend it while also having a decent sized army so you can actually roam the map. I don't mind doing that, but this kind of speeds up the game a bit and also makes it so that while you're out, these like random roaming neutral units don't come in and take your capital. I mainly installed it not for me. I installed it for the computer players, because the computer players won't always defend their capitals right at the very beginning of the game, and they'll just go roaming around immediately. Because I think they're programmed to try to take as many bases as they can so that they can increase their profit margin as fast as they can. And I don't like my enemies getting eliminated from the game immediately. So with this mod, the bases stay completely defended for the entirety of the game, and it even allows for the other computer players not to knock each other out early, because those towers are so good that you need a pretty decently sized army to actually take it out, and the computer's programmed to never attack a army unless it's going to come out victorious. So, plus the computer does stockpile units. Once it starts getting, you know, a basic income, it'll just start auto purchasing armies. I guess I could show the battle real quick. Just a tiger, so it's not that big of a deal. Took a little damage. I'm not gonna show every battle. I'll just show some early battles in case anyone starts watching this and is confused what's going on. That's a pretty sizable army. That I could take, especially since my big guy can reach over the sides and of the walls and hit the archers. And he's just really durable and can soak up a lot of stuff. Wouldn't normally do this. What type of spells we have? Earth Grip and Tremor. And what do we have for global spells? Lesser Summoning of the Dead. Well, that isn't bad considering we have diamond production from that thing down the gem deposit. So the plan is that we kind of want to like control the space around our little pit, so that we have some vision, so that we can see any of the computer players roaming around, while also trying to get as much resources as we can out of any of the nodes on the map. I don't really like fighting these guys because they have a chance of putting diseases and curses and plagues and stuff on your dudes. So since they have such a front line, this guy's going to be able to cast a lot, which means that he has a chance of not particularly killing my armies immediately, but can cause them to get a bunch of negative effects that will kill them over time. But I can take this because it's 4 money, and I don't think that this army will move, though I think while it controls that spawn, it has a chance of spawning neutral animals out of the location that move around. I'm probably going to lose like 2 or 3 guys taking this, but I think the boost in money as well as having a seaport will be nice, because you can build units out of the structure. And we see a library. This is not something we're going to be able to take early, because these wizards are actually pretty strong. But if you defeat them, you get these items off of them, which is nice, as well as access to the magic library, which allows you to train spells on your casters up to, as you can see down in the bottom where it shows all the resources, money, defense, which means that it's a defensible structure, which means it has walls. The catapult means that it is a siegeable location, which means that if you have siege equipment, that it functions differently than on a regular battlefield. And it has the 2 books, which means that it can train magic up to level 2. So you can learn some new spells, which are these things. You can learn he currently only has level 1 magic, but you can upgrade your magic right here, doing the Ritual of Mastery. And spending the emeralds to upgrade your casters to the next caster level, which will give you new spells here, as well as new spells in the combat menu when you right click on them. Where am I getting the emeralds from? Does the palace produce emeralds? Yeah, it does. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so we'll finish this, we'll watch this battle, because this one's going to be one that actually does some damage to my army, probably. Yeah, somehow... Oh, I was like, why did one of my guys die? No, he didn't die. He burrowed under the ground. These guys have siege tunneling, which gives them a chance to dig down and then come up from behind. He didn't move behind, he just moved closer to the wall. And my guys are also aquatic, so they'll go around into the base as well. They don't have to bust down the front door. Jeez, he got hit for 17. Oh, by the commander. So yeah, these are wounds that your guys can get. So this guy got hit in the head. So he now has the debuff on him permanently for the rest of the game till he dies, to be feeble-minded, which reduces magic resist and morale, and spellcasters that have this affliction will have their magic abilities reduced. Usually it reduces your magic casting by 1 level. And then this guy has just like a crippling, never healing wound, which lowers his HP. Is this the one that like lowers his health every day? No, it just lowers his HP. This guy's pretty much dead. He got a second thing. Oh, well, that might keep him alive. Battle Fright makes them deploy on the map further back because they're afraid of dying. Yeah, it looks like he's dead. Okay, I'm gonna lose a lot of troops taking this. But it's fine. The boost in gold will allow me to purchase a lot more troops. And the bigger issue with the pale ones is their basic troops don't have a whole lot of armor on. As you see, they look pretty much naked. They're like weird mole people. This guy is pretty much naked. He's just got a spear and a rock. This guy's got armor. These are the slightly more protected dudes. He's got like a little bit of armor. Armor made of bronze and cave cow leather. Which is funny because the cave cows also kind of look like them a little bit. They're like weird mole cows. But he's also got a shield, so... the big thing with these guys is that you want to get the bigger special dudes, because they just have giant... This guy's a unique guy that you get. He's pretty much like your... He's the king, obviously. If he dies, you can't get him back, so... I've tried a lot of playthroughs, and I try really hard not to have him die, but eventually he dies, and there's no way to get him back or anything of equivalent. He's kind of a really powerful unit you get really early on. The Troll King is also kind of the same way, except the Troll King's pretty cool if you pick that nation, because you get the Troll King right at the beginning, who's really strong, and then like 10-ish turns later, I think it has a set period of time, his mother will show up, which is a powerful troll caster, and she's also a big unit like the Troll King. But if you lose either of them, then you don't have them anymore. But the Troll King in the early game is really strong because he can just kind of roam around the map and just destroy full-on armies by himself. You have to worry about getting afflictions on him, but he has regenerate, so I think regenerate has a chance of removing inflictions every day and every round of combat. So he's a little bit more tanky than the Mole King, because if the Mole King gets a affliction, then well, we lost a majority of our soldiers. We still have our slingers and our scout and earth reader and like 2 soldiers, but we lost pretty much the entirety of our army, which is kind of what happens with the pale ones. So we definitely can't fight that anymore. And we also have to be a little bit careful about roaming around on the map because we're a little bit vulnerable now that we don't have much of an army. Most of the time it costs about 50 gold to purchase a majority of units in the game, depending on what faction you're playing. The dwarves don't have high gold cost, they have high iron cost instead. We require a little bit of iron for our dudes. What we really want to have a lookout for is every turn there's a chance of us getting specialty units. Okay, see, we have the little town icon. This has a chance of recruiting human mercenaries and magic items. I think you also get those when you take this thing. You can also purchase boats from ports, which you can use to sail around in the water, but since my guys are aquatic, they can actually go into the water, though movement in water, you can see if I hover over a water tile down here, it says shallow sea and it has 2 boots, which means that it requires 2 of these 3 action points that you have, where plain don't have any and jungle have 3 forest have 2. Also, weather also contributes to movement. So as you can see, I hover over this snow forest tile. Forests normally cost 2 when it's snowing, or when, like, because it's winter right now. Part of Elysium is frozen over. We're on the most southern region, where most savanna tiles don't get touched by the snow. So it's kind of weird that the snow is here, but we don't see it here. But anyways, we're gonna wait and just hang out here for a moment. We're probably just gonna wait 2 rounds and then purchase some units. Okay, it's spring. So I think in this game it's 4 seasons, 4 rounds in total for each season. There are some sites on the map that can change how the seasons work. If you activate them, they're like magical. Like there's a Stonehenge, and I can't remember what they're all called, but there's one for each season. They don't always spawn on the map, but if you activate them, they'll extend that season every year by, I think, an additional 4 rounds. I'm not sure. Maybe it might just be an additional 2. I'm not sure. Which can be good if your nation likes specific weather conditions. Like the dwarves have snow walk, I believe. I think it's the dwarves. Yeah, I think the dwarves have snow walk. They're not impeded by or they have something else that doesn't allow them to be impeded. I think they have snow walk. I believe so. Yeah. And the cloud people, the like winged angel looking dudes, they don't technically walk on the ground, so they're not impeded by ground movement. Like they don't have to take the forest penalty while walking through or going through a forest tile because they're technically in the air. Okay. So we're still like 2 turns away from buying some units, but we definitely want to get some more powerful units. Let's look down here. Okay, the ooze is still not taking that. That's good. Okay, so we have a caster available to us, but it's too expensive. Now we're going to wait 1 more round. We could summon some undead. Could be good just for the early game. Oh, it's just 1 dude. I was kind of hoping he would summon more. Does this thing have the movement penalty? No. So, because they're considered undead, basic units don't have a whole lot of things. Soldiers even less. Let's see if we can grab... Well, those are not the most typical soldiers. So, like, regular human units, which a majority of the factions have as their soldiers. Unless you're one of the specialty nations, like my nation, which is mole people, so I get mole soldiers. They don't have any cool knickknacks, but when you summon special dudes, or even my dude, my weird race dude, he gets amphibian and he's giant sized, which gives him a bunch of... He takes less penalty while moving through terrain, and he can climb over walls in combat because he's big. And then you get a effect when you're wielding a shield unit. You get this shield effect. And he also has cold and fire resist. But he has bad eyesight, which makes him miss 20% of all attacks. I think a majority of the... Yeah. Pretty much all the mole people have bad eyesight. This is the scout. He's also got stealth, which isn't as useful on a soldier unit. Well, it can be. If you have stealth on your army, your opponents have less chance of seeing you on the map. Though, that can be a blessing and a curse in disguise, because the computers will attack you if they think their army can beat yours, but I think it doesn't take into account stealth units, so it's just going on the information that it has, and since your units are... I don't know if the computer cheats and just knows what your army size is, but it might take into account that it doesn't see your stealth units when it attacks you, and you might not want their army to attack you, and then, you know, you win, but your army gets devastated, and yeah, you get set back. So you don't want to clash with other player characters as much in this game. Just because... Unless you can just devastate their army, because you don't want to get set back a lot by losing your army. It's better to try to just hold territory until you can chip away at their resources to get their armies small enough so that you can just kind of overwhelm and just run them over with a giant army. Okay, we don't have any specialty units besides this commander, but I'm looking for the... They're usually cheaper anyways. So we're gonna want some frontline soldiers. So we could get the... cavern guards. They cost a lot more iron. And they got Hellbergs. Or we could get the pale soldiers, which have shields and spears. But since I'm only really wanting them as kind of fodder, I'll grab some soldiers, just so I don't waste all of our iron. And we can use our iron to recruit other soldiers. Because we just kind of want some dudes to soak up damage. So how good is this undead dude? Well, he's got Spirit Sight, which is nice. So as long as he's in my army, I can see stealth units and invisible units, which is nice. Which I believe is the same thing the scout that I have has. Okay, he can only see stealthy units, not invisible units. Okay. So this guy's a bit of an upgrade and can see people who have casted like invisibility on themselves or have an item that grants invisibility. And he's got floating, which is cool, which makes it so he doesn't take movement penalties. Yeah, he only uses one action point, except for mountains, which cost 2. And then I think it also makes it so they don't fatigue as easily. Oh, they don't get fatigued. Okay, interesting. And then Mindless makes it so he's not affected by fear effects. Banishable means that anyone who has spells that send things back to where they come from or makes them highly susceptible to spells that like turn undead or something like that. Ethereal makes them hard to get hit by non-magical attacks, which is nice. Undead makes it so that they can take more damage from unholy attacks and stuff like that. Sleep immune means they can't fall asleep. He's got poison resist 100, which is really good, and cold resistance. And then they got pretty decent stats. If I could get more of them, it'd be nice. They're a good front line. Okay, we're going to... Do we want to cross the forest? That's going to take us some time. We can go into the shallow sea, but it takes 2 movement to go into that. So we could dip down like this. And we see one more tile this way. If we can get a sizable army, we can take care of that. They do have a serpent dude, but I don't think that's as bad as the witch magic, which this guy has. Serpent magic just has like poison damage and summoning type stuff. Okay, has the slime taken our thing yet? Nope. Okay, so we got extra money from farms, which is nice. Why is it still snowy? It's summer, isn't it? Is there a, sometimes there can be a thing that spawns on the map that produces cold around it. That'd be interesting if we have that. Ancient Pale Ones. Oh, I don't have enough money for it. Yeah, these are the units we're wanting to purchase. These, like, single specialty units, because they're, like, super... They're pretty strong individual units. They're a little bit bigger than regular units, but they're still not as big as this guy. And they're not generals, so they can't command armies, they're just regular units. We've got one of the player characters, and he's the Holmbergs, which are like little hobbit dudes. They're really good at making money. They're one of the factions that are really good at making a lot of gold quickly, because when they take over a settlement, they can turn it into one of their, like one of these hamlets. They turn it, when they take it over, they can turn it into one of their special hamlets that produce, I think, 1 more gold coin. So I could hypothetically let him take this one to turn it into that, and then I take it back, and then I gain the benefit of it, which I'll probably eventually do, because I'm going to move away from this, and he's going to come back and try to take it. Oh, he actually fought those mushrooms. The thing is, we could probably wipe him out if we go fight him. Because the Holmbergs, these things are, like, they got 3 HP. They've got decent equipment on, but not much better than what I'm wearing. They have so little HP in comparison to a regular unit. Because, like, my units have decent HP, but, like, a humanoid has about double the HP than what one of their units have. So we could slow down them by squashing their army, and I think I'll do that, because I don't... Yeah, that one's not a caster. So I think this is just an easy way to ensure... Yeah, that's weird. There must be... This mystical column must be causing winter to appear. I think that's what this is. Maybe. Unless there's another node on the map that's causing it. I just remember that the node that did it usually has frost giants protecting it. Okay, so yeah, we did really well in the battle. As I thought. Especially since they don't have a caster. Because casters are kind of the crux of most armies. Okay, so yeah, this thing must be causing weather and a vicinity around it to be backwards seasonally. Okay. Problem with fighting humanoids is that they're a little bit more durable. These things would be nice to capture. We can take a little scout around and potentially take this farm, even though it's only producing 1 gold. And try to figure out where these Holmberg's main base is, so that we at least know where their armies are going to come from. And well, I guess I'll just quickly show this. We'll just speed it up. Yeah, easy. We took a little bit of damage. Okay. The night's gonna cause me some issues. I could potentially win that. We have enough money to purchase something. But I think I'm gonna wait and see if we get some of the specialty dudes, because they're the big. You want to get the big mole people, not the little ones. The little ones are good for bolstering your army, but the big ones are the ones that are kind of the power hitters of your army. There must be a sea tile like right here, because these things are units that spend most of their time in the sea. They're like mer fish people things. They don't usually come too far up onto. There's one ancient hurler. That's what I'm looking for. These guys are cool. They're giant dudes, and they throw boulders at people, and they're also considered siege units, so they get this special attack if they're attacking a keep, or like any of the nodes that have the little like catapult icon on the bottom there. So we're gonna purchase an ancient hurler, and I guess we'll put it back in the underground area for now, because this one's a little bit hard to reach because you have to move through these higher movement areas to get to it. Okay, I was right. I just ventured on 1 tile. Usually the mer things will only come onto land for like 1 tile, and then they'll go back in the water. This is easy. See, it was so easy that it didn't even consider it a battle. It was just overrun immediately. That's an easy 2 money as well. Okay, we got a neutral mine full of blue cobalts. We could attack that next turn, and it gives us access to the sapphires, as well as 2 iron and 2 gold, and getting a node that actually produces iron is pretty strong. And a basic iron mine 221 is pretty much the best you can ask for. So, and having access to sapphires is good, because eventually we will get. I know that my faction basically has a caster type for each gem type, except for diamonds, I believe, and has magic that they can use to cast all things. So if I use the lesser ritual, I can learn a new type of these spells. And if I do that, then I will get another spell, and I can occasionally cost different types of gems to cast the spells. This one turns deep deposits into temples, which are these like church. they turn it into a church node essentially, and the church nodes increase your chance of getting the casters because they're kind of like your holy. The casters are pretty much like clerics or whatever for this faction. So I could turn this deep deposit into one of the churches, but then I'd lose out on getting the iron and diamond from it. I think it produces 2 gold once it switches over. So I would be gaining more gold, but I want access to the raw materials. So yeah, it must be this thing that's causing reverse weather, because the snow isn't coming down towards it. Interesting. Okay, I think these things get, they get snow stealth and snow move. Okay. Kobolds are also kind of weak. They only have 2 health. They have like small spears. The big thing with the small units and the factions, because you can play as the kobolds, they're all kind of about swarming more than having individually strong units. And since they also kind of do the they're more swarming in than my faction. My faction's more of basic armies and big dudes that supplement the armies. Kobolds are more about lots of little dudes and then like specialized, because the kobold faction have dragons, and they have like dragon type things like drakes and stuff. You use those to kind of bolster your army. The dragons that they don't have any control over. They're kind of like dragon worshippers. They like summon the dragons to protect the mines, and then the dragons will randomly run around and destroy any things that are close by to the mines, or they'll end up getting themselves killed, one or the other. But dragons are pretty powerful units. They can usually take on a decently sized army by themselves, so long as there isn't a caster that's really supplementing the army. So yeah, well, we'll watch this battle, but doesn't look like we lose that many troops in it. I always just, that's why I turn the battle reports on, so I can just look at the battle report and see how the battle went, so I don't have to watch. Because as the game progresses, you start having more split up armies, and so there's a lot more combat happening around the map, and I don't want to have to watch every single battle, especially since some of the battles is just you moving a big army in onto a very small army. So usually I just want to see if I lost anything important. But yeah, he pretty much handily took out that army. And we didn't lose any guys in the process, right? Yeah. Pretty easy. Giant ants can be a problem. They're big acid spray, can be, but since there's only 2 of them, it's not... Pretty sure even though our team is a little bit of a ragtag team, they'll be able to take it out easily. I'm just holding on to my cash. I'm getting quite a bit of money now. We're just looking for rounds where we get extra dudes that are special units, since my faction doesn't allow you to produce them all the time. And now we're getting a sapphire, which is awesome, especially since my casters can learn how to scry, and scrying requires sapphire gems. Scrying just reveals a portion of the map, but it's very useful for excavating the underground area. So yeah, we took out the ants without taking any losses. We got a ancient hurler, which is awesome. So now we have 2 of them. I'll just show what they look like on the map real quick. So yeah, they take up 4 spaces on the map, which is pretty cool. And they're kind of a ranged unit that does like pretty decent damage, though it's more of a variable between 1 and 13. But they're able to basically on a mid roll instantly kill a humanoid unit, so that's pretty good. That one of their boulder tosses basically can completely kill a normal soldier, because most soldiers only have like 5 or 6 HP. And since they do 1 to 13 damage, they have a average roll to one-shot it. So we could take this down because there's a lot less soldiers here than there were at the last one. This would be another 4 gold a turn, which is nice. Another thing I didn't really talk about when I looked at the ports, but the ports have these like little wheelbarrow things. There's one type of village node that has, I think they're called like a market town or something. These also, the keeps also have the little wheelbarrows, as well as the cities. Oh, there it is. Market Village. They have 1 wheelbarrow. If you have a wheelbarrow, you can go up to this panel at the top here, where the gold coins are for purchasing. This one moves between your available units. And then right next to it is a wheelbarrow, which is your little trade thing. So the wheelbarrow counts as trade. We currently have 2. You can click on something that you would like to buy, and then it will, every month, so every 4 turns, will take a chunk of your money and give you that resource in comparison. But it will only give you equivalents to how much trade you have. So because we have 2 trade, it will at most give you, say we wanted to buy iron, it would only give you 2 iron at most. And then I'm not exactly sure, I think it's 1 for 1. So it'll take 2 of your gold and convert it into iron. I've never selected this before. Buying at overprice will bring in twice as much goods, but for 4 times the normal cost. Okay, so if you're really desperate for a resource, and some factions are, because some factions don't have an easy way to get iron or one of the other resources they need, you can use this to expedite your gold into whatever resource you're needing. The dwarves, for an example, are really heavy on iron and not so much on gold. So you could use any of your excess gold to convert to iron if you're able to find a like city or something to hold. But since my faction pretty much mostly uses gold with a little bit of a supplement of iron, just to bolster get armored units, I don't require that much. We'll move over 1 tile just so we can scout a little bit more. And then I have to debate whether or not I want to take this or not, because I'm probably going to take a handful of casualties, as well as that horse guy might actually be able to do some decent damage to my king. Though he shouldn't be able to use the lance charge attack, so I should only have to worry about the broadsword attacks. The big thing is that he has a lot of HP. But I think it might be worth taking that. Oh, cool. There's another mountain node over here. And a water node that we can take. Creatures tend to have more HP than humans do, so they're a little bit more dangerous. This would be nice to take because it produces a lot of gold and a lot of diamond, which will be good for using some of my magic. Big problem is that this is quite a few mole people. So this is a neutral mole faction on the map. All the gray and light blue colored factions are neutral, and then all the colored factions, which we can see right here. And we can see what we're playing against. So we're playing against the Burgmasters, the Margrave, which I think is what we bumped into. So we're playing against these are two different Hobbit factions. So it's a little unfortunate we got two Hobbit factions, but we have two Hobbit factions. We're playing against the Cloud Lords, which are the Sky people, and we're playing against the Enchanters and the Illusionists. I wish I had a little bit more diversity in who we were playing against, because the Illusionists and the Enchanters are fairly similar to each other, and these two are literally the same faction. They just play slightly differently. One of them's like classic hobbits, and the other ones are like super money oriented. Okay, we lost one dude. We can see what happened. Okay, that's probably what happened. My dude's burrowed down, came out from behind, and that one guy is going to get focus fired down by the knight. Yeah. Oh, because this guy has a float, he's able to just go over the walls. I was like, why was he able to just go over the walls so easily? Okay, so we lost a couple dudes. But we can... Oh, cool, we have a hurler available. We can immediately buy a hurler to join us here. And we will attach him to my army, so I don't accidentally leave him behind. So, give me a second here. Okay, so let's see. I'm getting a little bit far away from my capital. But what I'm wanting to see is if I can just check to make sure there's nothing in this vicinity. Because I'm assuming that the hamburger dudes came from up here. Unless they came from over here. But then I would have been surprised why they didn't take these things. Or this thing at least. So I'm going to have a feeling they came from up here. So my idea is I want to go over here, check what's over here. I'm not going to be able to take this on for a little bit. I'm going to need a slightly bigger army for that. I probably would win if we fought right now, but I'd lose like everything except for my caster and my king. And my king might get afflicted, which is not something I want to take in the early game. So we're just going to move up and scout. These Hellberg guys can sometimes be a problem, but this shouldn't be an issue. Oh, there is a faction over here. We got the purple faction. Which one's the purple faction? The Cloud Lords. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Cloud Lords are cool. I like playing as them as well. I like playing as some of the more unique non-humanoid factions because they always have unique things that they can do. And the Cloud Lords are cool because they start up in a cloud city. As you can see up in the top here, where I can select the underground, and this is Elysium. All of these are different planes in the game, which are really cool. Some of them are incredibly dangerous. And then some of them are cool, and you can get cool stuff for conquering pieces of them, though they're really hard to keep because the units there that wander around the map are a lot more difficult than the ones that are on Elysium. But this is Elysium. This is the underground of Elysium, which is called Argotha or whatever. Pretty much just the mole people are down here. And then there's this unknown plane because we haven't viewed it yet, but this is the sky. That's where the cloud people spawn, and no other factions spawn there. This here is pretty much heaven, or like this world, or this universe's version of heaven. And this is this world version of hell. This one is Hades, which is the, world of the dead, or whatever. These are the... I think these are the Aztec... Either the Aztec or... like the equivalent of either Aztec or Hindu planes. I'm not too familiar with their religious practices, but there's like 6 different planes. I've been there in one of my playthroughs and walked around. Lost a majority of my army there, but I conquered some of it, and then I used it as a pinnacle to move somewhere else. So I can't remember how I got there. I think I was in Hades. I found a portal from Hades to this unknown plane, and then I used the unknown plane to get to Gaia, which is this place, the next one in the order. This is Gaia. It's like don't know how to compare it to. It's like the wild world or whatever, like the natural world or whatever. Pretty much if you can get to Gaia in the game, you can get to all the other planes, because all of the planes are attached to Gaia, as well as to this plane, which is the Nether, which is like outer space pretty much. This is the one of the most dangerous planes, because every turn your army teleports around in it randomly, and everything in it teleports around randomly. So your army can just immediately fight somebody because both of you teleport on top of each other. You can access... This plane also has a portal to Gaia. So if you need to get to Gaia, you can get there from the Nether, even though the Nether's one of the most dangerous places to navigate. And you can get to the Nether really easily from Elysium. You just have to go to the edge of the map. Everywhere at the very edge of the map is outer space. And if you get on a boat, or I can get there with this faction because I can just go into the water and swim to the edge of the map, and then if you step into the tile that looks kind of like starry outer space, you immediately teleport into the Nether area. And then this one's the elemental planes, which are all 4 of the elemental planes. They're all on the same map, even though they're separate planes. Fire, earth, water, and air. And you can get to all of those places from Elysium, but they don't always spawn on the map. So you can get to the fire plane through a volcano if the volcano tile appears on the map. You can get to the water plane. That one has a pretty high chance to spawn. I don't think it spawns every map, but it will be randomly somewhere in the water. You'll have to find it. It's like a little like whirlpool indent. And then I think there's a second way to get there. If you find the water palace, sometimes the water palace will spawn in the water. I think that's another way to get to the water plane. That one's a little bit harder to get to the water plane because you have to fight a pretty giant-sized aquatic army, like an Atlantis giant mermaid slash shark slash water elementals, and then it has like one really strong, really powerful aquatic caster. So that one's a little bit harder to deal with because not that many people can get an army out into the water in the first place without putting them on like a boat. And then the boat can only hold so many units, and then if the boats get destroyed, then your army gets destroyed. So, you know, and then you have to buy all the boats. They're going to be costly. So to get a giant enough army to actually siege one of those keeps is a little bit more difficult, unless you're one of the aquatic nations like I am. Then it's a little bit more doable. Or if you have the ability to use magic to summon in aquatic type creatures that can supplement your army, like I can do as well. And then air is, I think, the hardest to get to. There's a sky palace that can spawn in the sky. It doesn't always appear on every single map, but it's the same as the water palace, where it has a pretty giant-sized army guarding it, and to get a army up in the sky is as difficult as it is to get a giant boat army. So pretty much the only people who have access to the Sky Palace are the Cloud Lords, since all of their army flies. And there's like a couple factions that have some flying units that could potentially take out the Sky Palace later on in the game, not super early or in the mid game. The Cloud Lords could definitely probably take on. They'd probably lose a big chunk of their army taking it, but they could probably take it on fairly early in the like mid-ish game. I'm just gonna end the round so we can go to the battle. But yeah, I don't know if there's another way to access the Air Palace. I haven't seen it, if it exists. Same thing with the fire, or I don't know if there's a fire palace or something that teleports you to. I just know of the volcano. So that's the only way I've ever gotten to the plane of fire. The plane of fire is the most dangerous of the 4 elemental planes because you take constant fire damage while you're in it. So unless you have fire resistance, like I did when I originally went in there, because I went in there with a dwarf army. And dwarves can enchant their equipment with rubies to give themselves fire resist, and I think they start off with fire resist, so they already have a decent amount of fire resist. In order to not take any damage while you're in the fire plane, you're going to have 100 fire resist, because 50 will only reduce the damage by half. And then there isn't that much in there that you can do unless you're willing to fight giant fire armies, so you're going to need a good amount of fire resist. And I remember when I took the fire palace inside of the fire plane as the dwarves, I pretty much lost my entire army doing it. I was able to take it, though. If you're able to conquer the fire plane and hold it, and get rid of all of the neutral units that are wandering around in there, it's pretty easy to hold it because not a lot of player factions can actually get into the fire plane. The main palace, I think, produces like 5 gold a round, which isn't really worth taking, but it also has a chance of you being able to purchase these pretty powerful fire units from the palace itself. That's going to anger the Cloud Lords for taking that, because the computer has a bit of a grudge where it doesn't like when you take its stuff, but for some weird reason it decides not to give you the same respect, where if it sees an open node, it will try to take it from you. Assuming your army isn't around. It sometimes won't take it if your army's too close, because it goes, oh, if I take it, he's gonna counterattack me. Oh, there's a gallows on the map. It's rare that you find these actual spawn. When you play as the Necromancer always has a gallows spawn next to his citadel, which is his home base. This is the first time I can't say this is the first time, but this is one of the only times I've seen... Oh, okay. The Skylords might be right here. This is a Mountain Spire. Cloud Lords always have a Mountain Spire spawn wherever their Cloud City is. So I'm going to assume that the Cloud Lords are up in the sky right here. So that's kind of annoying. Ooh, a silver mine. These things are really difficult to defeat, though. The faction that we're playing against can summon these things. I think the enchant... where's the factions again? Player overview. Pretty sure the enchanters can summon those things. Because these things are like resistance against all melee weapons. And then they also have, like, benefits because they're a golem. Well, they have pretty much all the resistances: fire, frost, lightning, and poison. I guess they're not weak. I guess acid still hits them. And there's one other element, isn't there? Oh, well, like, earth does physical damage anyways, usually. Golems. Oh, let's try. Yeah. So we're probably not going to be taking this anytime soon. Though that would be nice to grab. Okay. Is there any units this round? No. Okay, there's the Cloud Lord army. No, you guys aren't allowed to take that. I took that. That's mine. Oh geez, he summoned an air elemental. Well, you're gonna want to crush that army just so that he doesn't have his dude running around recapping our stuff. So there's no way for me to purchase a hurler over here, so we'll stick the hurler back in the capital, since we already have, I think, 2 hurlers down there, don't we? So now we have 3. Yep. So we'll go pick those up at some point. Okay, you moved into range for me to get you. You thought you could be clever, just run around capturing all my stuff. So instead of just moving in immediately, since we have 3 move, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move here and here, since that's going to be our 2 movement, to grab that back so it's under my control. And then we're going to move in and... Well, I could have purchased some dudes. Should have probably done that. I'm probably going to lose at least one dude to this electric elemental, if not more than one dude. This archer should probably not do that much damage to me. And the caster, depending on what spells he has, might be able to kill a dude himself. But at most, that's probably going to be 3 or 4 dudes that get killed. Maybe just 2. And if I'm lucky, less than that. But we want to knock out this army while it's still small, because we want to make sure we really get rid of his air elemental. Because if he had a decently sized army, this would be... I wouldn't bother fighting this, because the air elemental itself is gonna... It can do a lot if you can't focus it down fast. And since you can't tell your army what to do, they just kind of do what they want. It's gonna have a lot of turns of using project lightning and gust of wind, and it's really hard to hit even of itself because it's considered ethereal. And it doesn't take damage from projectiles as much because it has air shield. And if he had more of an army to protect this caster, this is the main thing that we want to kill. And it's a level 2 caster, so we're going to really hurt him for taking this out. We essentially want to shut down his money production so that we don't have to deal with his armies roaming around a lot. So we'll watch this battle. I won't look at the battle report so I don't get spoiled on what goes on. As you can see, the lightning storm just did a huge chunk of damage to those 2 guys. And I added an affliction to that one guy. Killed that one guy. Come on. Yeah, we're gonna lose quite a few dudes. I put an affliction on my caster. What did he put on it? Festering wound. Ooh, that might... There's a chance of killing the caster. Also has a chance of going away, though. So, we might lose our caster, which is not good. Especially once you lose your caster, you lose all your gems. So, I'm gonna have to hope another caster appears so that, just in case this guy does, I don't lose access to all the gems that I have. I would love to buy the seal guard, but I need to have excess money open just in case one of the casters show up. Okay. Since we're a little bit far away from my capital, we're gonna move back and scout this area. I'll go pick up those hurlers on the way back. And the cloud guy's moving his units around again. Let's stick an ancient hurler here. That might be enough. I don't think that'll be enough deterrence by itself. But I don't want to spend any more money. It might be enough deterrence just to keep that cloud army at bay. I don't know how big it was. It shouldn't be that big. Yeah, it's enough to keep them at bay. I need to hope that that goes away. It's kind of interesting this thing's been roaming around, but it never has taken my deep deposit. How big is this? It's a decently sized force. Yeah, if you get magic items like Ring of Water Breathing, you can make it so that your generals can go underwater, but still doesn't help with not having your army not able to go underwater. Can I afford for one round to purchase some slingers to put inside of this fort? That would bring me down to 50. Then I'd be at 62, 72, 82, 84 next round. That should be enough if a caster does appear, so we'll stick some slingers over here just to ensure that these guys don't get any bright ideas. He's probably going to come over and capture this iron mine. Can't do much about that. Yep. Yeah, you still have the festering wound. I want it to go away so I know that it's safe. Okay, go in here. We'll grab the hurlers. I also would love to buy that sealed guard, but I can't. Okay, there's an Earth Reader. Just to keep it safe, we'll put the Earth Reader in here, so we have a backup mage now. We can also buy one of these pale ones. But we can stick it over in the... We can stick it over here. Because if I put it in the other place, I would want to backtrack to pick it up. I don't really want to waste my time going back again. So we'll just have some soldiers over there. Now I can be a little bit more... Or at least a little bit more... or less cautious. Because this guy can die, but at least we won't lose all of our gems. We should also check to see what magic this guy has. Okay, cool, he has scrying. And I'm just going to scry for the sakes of just showing it off and just taking a look. So you can click on scry, and then you can scry in whatever plane you're in. I think that all three of these planes are considered the same plane, because this is just the underworld, or the underground of Elysium and the sky of Elysium, so you could hypothetically scry them. We don't have access to the sky because we haven't been up there yet, so we can't go there. But I'm going to scry down here, because we're going to want to be looking for the little ground pockets. So we know that if we dig over here, there's just going to be more stone wall. We're going to need to get back that mine, though, if we're going to want access to more emerald or sapphires to be able to scry, though. So we're going to go north just to check out this for a moment. We'll see if any of these got captured by a player yet, or a computer yet. I would love to play this game multiplayer. Oh cool, the wound. Oh no, I got the disease. So this guy is dead. So it's a good thing we picked up another mage. Which is fine if he dies. The items will drop off of him and get picked up by one of our soldiers, because this guy can't equip any of the stuff, so it'll go to one of these guys, because these guys have the equipment slots as well. He's just gonna slowly die from this disease, unfortunately. Unfortunately, so it's a good thing we bought the additional caster. Okay, so no factions have taken this. So I can take them myself, and that way I will know if anyone's coming close to me. The only problem with me taking them is that I don't have them as a kind of a wall in between me and my capital area. He's banded. Stood no chance. My king tanked everything. Okay, so we're gonna move up one and then down one. And take out these guys. Here comes the Cloud Lord army. As I told you, you poke the bear when you take their stuff. They get peeved and they're like, I'm gonna come mess with you until you well, until forever, pretty much. Because they're just annoying that way. So what I'm going to do, since this guy's pretty much dead, is I'm going to put him back in the capital, and he's just going to hang out there until he dies. And then I'm going to go pick up the other caster that we just got, so that we have a field caster at least. So it's very important to always have at least one caster in your army. Just to have buffs or damage. This guy has 2 damage spells. Plus we're gonna have to deal with this Skylord army. Golden plate mail. That's expensive. Don't have the money for that. I don't think I can take on... I could probably take on this army. It's just they have some of the more heavily equipped sky people. Though they're not too much more durable than, you know, a regular human dude. Big thing is they don't have a caster on them, which is nice. So I could attack them now just to stop them from running around and capping things. Kind of shutting this down immediately. Because I don't think they'll be able to hurt this dude that much. And these hurlers will definitely squash them, most likely, and this caster will be able to kind of mop the floor with them a bit. You know what? Let's just take them out now, and then I can come back down, grab my dudes, or grab my caster, and then I can purchase some additional troops to bolster my army, because I'm probably going to lose a couple guys in this fight. And then I think what I'm going to do is go back over here, because I want this mine back, and I want that back. We can finish exploring this. And then we can go up the mountain spire and kind of check out to see what the Skylords are doing up there. Because every faction spawns with their citadel and usually like a couple nodes around them. The Sky people always have 2 Sky Hamlets, which are like cloud towns. My faction always just starts with the one deep iron deposit. We got lucky and had an ancient statue. Oh, we always have... Okay, sorry. We always have this, and we always have a pit to bring us up to the surface. I think there's one playthrough where I played as the mole people, and my pit didn't spawn in the same cutout that I was in. It spawned like on the other side of a rock wall over like here, and I didn't know that because the moles don't see very far, and so I was actually stuck in the underground. It was a pretty big cavern, and it had additional resources in it because there are some resource nodes in some of the caverns, but this particular cavern doesn't have it. It just has this one double green ooze moving around. But that's why I like scouting out the underground, because pretty much just the pale ones are down here. Sometimes other factions can come down here. They can obviously travel down your pit, but sometimes the map will spawn with pits elsewhere on the map that go down into the ground, and then sometimes there will be mines that also allow you to travel underground, and sometimes the mines are attached to each other, where you can go down into the room and then there's a bunch of teleporters down there and you can teleport to the other mines on the map. It's very useful to find that those mines that are attached to each other if you're playing the dwarf faction, because dwarves are kind of unique in their playstyle, where they create fortifications inside of mines. So they're a little bit weird because dwarves don't just want to take a section of the map for themselves, kind of like what we're trying to do, because we kind of want to like maintain this area until we get big enough that we can push out further into the map. Dwarves are interesting in the way where they like take a mine and then they spawn soldiers. They're one of the swarm races where they don't have to purchase dudes to create an army. They just constantly spawn units. So the kobolds are a spawning faction, and so are the dwarves. And there's a couple other factions, I think. I don't know if the Homburgs, the like little hobbit guys, because I haven't really messed around with them that much. I think I've played them once just to see what they did. I don't remember if they spawn. I think they just have really cheap units that they can spam out. But the dwarves and the kobolds kind of function very similarly to each other, because the kobolds also want to take mines, except they're not as good at holding mines as dwarves are. Dwarves will take a mine, and they constantly spawn their dwarves in, and then you can purchase like upgrades for the dwarves instead of actually just purchasing the units. You can upgrade your current worker dwarves, because the unit that's spawning are like worker dwarves. Worker dwarves by themselves are not the best capable combat, but for the early game they're, you know, good at you know, absorbing damage and, you know, swinging in a hit every once in a while. Because I think that dwarves have lower initiation, which means they attack lower in the turn order because they're shorter. I think the shorter races get lower initiative because their reach isn't as long. Because each weapon on a unit has an initiative, as you can see. Which means it's priority of when two units are meant to attack in a round, which one's going to attack first. So, what were we doing? Oh, okay, we finished that, and then we need to end turn to see this combat happen. And we will view it. This is why I like the hurlers, because if they hit, they pretty much kill whatever they hit. Okay, did we lose anybody? Didn't look like it. We might have lost one guy and I wasn't paying attention. No, we didn't even lose a guy. Nice. Kind of assuming we were going to lose somebody. But, okay, we're good. Unfortunately, you're going to die. So we're going to go back down. Still don't have any specialized units. End the round. Okay, lots of specialized units this round. Just the scout and some generals. We'll get a hurler. And we'll get some soldiers. Oh, the hurlers count as a regular unit. Okay. Never mind. Oh, the slime finally took my node. Okay, we're gonna be transferring the army to you. Okay, there's still some units attached to them. Huh? Oh, didn't see that guy up there. Because my mic is in the way. Okay. And I guess we can just, since this guy still has the summoning undead thing, we will summon an undead with his last action point. This one has more HP than the other one, but doesn't have as many cool abilities, because this one's a spirit, and this one's like an actual just undead version of one of my regular dudes. Don't know if I can take these things on right now, though. Especially since they have a pretty high chance of inflicting a wound on my king, which I don't really want. So I think we will avoid fighting them for now, and I will just have to deal with the fact that we're not going to be getting these resources. We'll come back and deal with that when I have a slightly bigger army. Okay, we will purchase this guy over here, so we can pick that up when we head over that direction. Enter through the gateway. Be a little annoyed that this thing's causing snow to leak out around my base. At least once we're able to actually finally deal with all of these units guarding the portal, we can actually use this, I think, to teleport to one of the other planes. I think this one goes to... I don't know if it's going to go to the plane of... Because it could go to the water plane. Because the water plane, the island on it is frost. So this could be a portal to the water plane. But I also think that it is a portal to Gaia, potentially. Which is nice, because Gaia gets you everywhere else if you can get there. It's just these statues are all use project lightning, so I'm definitely going to lose a lot of troops fighting these things, and they have a lot of HP. And they don't run out of... they don't get exhausted because they're statues, they're not actually humans, so they're just going to keep casting every turn. So I just have to deal with 8 damage, roughly somewhere between 1 to 8 damage, so roughly 4 damage every strike, which is enough to kill, you know, most units. My units are a little bit more durable, though. But since there's so many of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm gonna need a decently sized army to kind of spread out the damage. So it's a little bit annoying that... What age of summer is it? Yeah, we're gonna have to move in the snow. Oh. It's the Hamburgs. They're back! And with a slightly bigger army. They must be getting crippled pretty hard. They must have another computer faction next to them. The big problem is he's going to come over here and cap all this stuff. I could easily take on that army, though. Let's hang out here and take on that army. We'll also spy another ancient guy over here. Oh, he's backing up for some reason. That must mean that he's being attacked. I'm assuming what the reason why I hadn't seen him again since we destroyed his army was that he has another computer player on the other side of him causing him problems. Okay, so we can only purchase one of these over here. We'll get a seal guard over here. And we'll put an ancient one guy back in the main base. Oh, not enough iron. Okay. I guess we don't have iron production anymore. That's a bit sad. Okay, well that Homburg guy will be back after he's done dealing with that, whatever it is that... yeah, here he comes back. Okay, I don't want to have to deal with battles on two fronts, so we're gonna wait here a moment. Really sucks I don't have iron production. There we go. Gold, infinite gold ring. Well, if I had the money to purchase that, I would love that, because that increases your gold generation per round. But this Homburg got a little greedy and moved in by himself, not knowing that my army was lurking in the back. His army looks big, but as I said before, their units don't have a whole lot of HP. And he also doesn't have a caster, because these guys are all just regular staff militia guys. I think his other army had more specialized units too. So this should be a pretty easy cakewalk. The only kind of tough guy is their general. But as long as his charge attack doesn't do excess damage, it shouldn't hurt my king, and my king should be the one that he's targeting, probably. And as long as he doesn't charge one of my regular units, I don't think I will lose anybody in this fight. Winter is here. I got regular human mercenary archers appearing. Okay, let's view without spoiling with the stats and see what goes on here. It's also nice that this guy's on the wings of my army, because he doesn't take melee attacks as easily. It is annoying that these guys are trying to engage my back line though, because my front line doesn't stretch far enough yet. That's fine, most of my back line are the hurlers. The hurlers can pretty much... They don't have a good melee attack because they just hit with their fist, but they get a big modifier from their being bigger and having high strength. So they do 10 damage a swing if they hit. Okay, I think I lost one dude, maybe? No, didn't even lose a dude. Nice. This is why having specialized units and casters are really strong. Oh, I have an ancient commander, that's pretty nice. This is kind of like a semi-replacement for your king. He isn't as good as the king, but he kind of functions as a general that's on the big side, that kind of can be a replacement for your king once he dies. I wish there was a way you could like promote one of these guys into the new king, but that is not the case. The king is just a one-time special awesome unit that you can have. I can't afford him. I would consider buying him. We'll just throw some archers over here. Don't know if I'll bring them with my army, because my mole people have a little bit better access to areas, as they can like go through water, and this lake right here, they could technically go through it, where archers are just the regular human dudes. But these guys can hold down this fort and just protect it. I haven't had to defend this one, which is nice. So eventually that Homburg guy will come back, because the computers are just programmed to always take back properties that once were theirs. And they also have like an aggression meter, I guess, because they always tend to come mess with me whenever I mess with them. So they will be back, especially since they did capture this and I captured it back. So I think in its protocols of how the AI prioritizes what it wants to do, it considers this once its property, which is silly because it was my property and then it took it from me. So we could scout this area, but I want to really get my mind back and pick up these units, as well as go check on the Cloud Lords and kind of try to hamper them as much as I can. I don't think I could take them out this early. I would love to take them out so that I don't have to deal with them anymore, but could I take this tower? You know what? Sure, let's do it. We'll just save our money for now, because I would really just want some foot soldiers to kind of bolster my front line a bit. Oh, I guess this is considered a siegeable location, so these guys are using their siege attack, which just gives them a bunch of free rock throws before the battle starts. That's why I love the hurlers so much. Yeah, pretty much just took out the most of the forces before we even got there. The only one that was going to be a huge detriment was that knight. Now, unfortunately, we've let the Cloud people hold this for a little bit long, so they probably have some decently stockpiled up money, so they probably have built back some of their army. The problem is they may have overspent, because they do that sometimes, where they haven't built a commander yet, because just like with my units, you don't always have a commander available to purchase. So I think the computers are programmed as long as they have money to spend it on something. So they probably have been building... Yeah, they probably have been building... units. Sorry, I was kind of getting lost in what I was trying to say. We'll go over here, grab another hurler. These guys are going to be really nice for the front line. And we'll take the slingers with us as well, and we'll just leave the archers behind. So now we're getting a pretty decent sizable army. I would like to have it a little bit bigger. Once we get it a little bit bigger, then I can start having a smaller scout army that I use to just move around and fill in some of the fog of war and not have them actually engage in anything too difficult. Kind of the equivalent size to my basic starting army. It's always good to have a scouting army in this game, just to be a little bit in front of your big army, to kind of potentially goad their army into coming towards you, or engaging your smaller army so that you can engage on them with your bigger army. You don't really want to lose your little armies if you have them. But if you need to force their army into engaging you, then that is an option. Oh, a siren took this thing. Sirens can be a problem because they have the ability to seduce and basically mind control your units. But we have a big enough army that it shouldn't target anything important, because I would really not like it to hit my king and then I lose my king. But the king has pretty high magic resist, or yeah, it's magic. Yeah, magic resist. So there's a pretty high chance it won't get converted. But these little guys will probably, they have lower magic resist. There's a good chance that it might target them and get it. But I would love to get this city back. So we're going to attack it, as well as just have it so that the siren's not wandering around. Okay, no specialty units available. We're starting to stockpile a decent amount of money, so I might be worth considering purchasing just some basic units every turn. Though we're not at the critical income of about 50 gold a round. Once you get to 50 gold a round, you can start pretty much pumping out units at a much higher volume. Okay, we took it. The siren, this ancient hurler must have got mind controlled. Nope. Why did it say that I lost one then? Oh, it was the kill. Okay. I thought it said I lost one. Now the cross means the ancient hurler got the kill. Gotcha. Pale 1 commander. Jeez, that's an expensive Pale 1 commander. Usually they're around 50 gold. Okay, we could take this, but it's only 1 gold, and I want to start heading towards this pillar. And since this terrain's going to be quite difficult to get through, we'll deal with this giant crab on the way over. It's also worth to kind of scout into the water, because this here I can take for 1 gold as well. Especially now that my army is at a pretty decent size. I could show this battle real quick so you could just see what fighting a creature looks like. Very tinky, but we took it out super easy. Might be worth crushing this so that it doesn't cap this before we go up the mountain. Okay, we can afford to get the ancient pale one. We've had a couple rounds where our iron is lower, and we're kind of missing out on iron because we don't have this. Oh, this guy's still alive? I forgot to transfer his items onto a different dude. Well, the fact that he's still alive, we can just do that since the slimes aren't occupying it. We can get it back for at least until they recapture it again. Okay. Spire takes 3 movement, so we're going to have to move onto it and then wait a turn. No specialty units for this round. I could buy some basic unarmored melee guys just to have bolster my army once I get back there. If I saved my money, I could have bought those pike dudes. Oh well. Okay, time to go up into the clouds. Whoop. Yeah. So you have to be a little bit careful when you're up in the sky and you're not the sky people, because you don't fly, and these clouds can disappear over time. So you have to be careful. Like, this place is not a cloud, but the ones with buildings on it will always be there. This one says it's dispersing, so stepping on it would be a bad idea because you'd fall down to Earth, and it's pretty much just insta-death to your army. And the one that we're on is considered a building because it's the top of the mountain. So this is the capital of the Cloud people, and as you can see, it has my mod protection in it, and they have been building a army. They have some of the Cloud soldiers and a Cloud scout or archer, I think, of some sort, and then they have just some regular archers, the regular flying archer dudes. But they don't have a general, so they can't move around their army at the moment. And we're wanting to cut down their money production. This fort produces... It'll be nice once we can capture it, because it produces a lot of gems, but not a whole lot of money, which is where they get a majority of their units from. They also require gems to make a lot of their units as well, their armored units. What we're going to want to do is take both of these hamlets, even though they only produce 1 money. Sky mushrooms. We're going to want to take the hamlets from them so that we're cutting down the amount of money that they're producing every turn. So that they don't have an easy way to produce their generals, and if they can't produce their generals, then they can't have their army move around, and that means that we get free reign to... Oh, okay, I get you why there's a general. I was saying at the beginning of the thing, I don't understand why he's there, but you automatically lose the game if you don't have a general on the map, so I get it. That's the reason he's there. He's there so that you don't immediately lose the game if your army gets crushed outside. So the way you lose the game is you don't have any controllable generals on the map, or your base gets taken. Or all bases that can produce units get taken. So in order for someone to beat me, they'd have to take this one, and my capital. And if I was feeling like a little bit suicidal, I could go in and attempt to kill him. Because even if my army died to these things, he would still be defeated, which would allow me to take the capital. But I would have to have a dummy army that I'd want to throw at it if I was wanting to do that, because I would probably lose all of the entirety of my army doing that. Wow, this is actually a pretty giant piece of cloud. Usually when the Cloud people, I like playing them myself as well. I just like the versatility of them being able to fly around the map, which allows them to kind of be very unpredictable. I would love to play them in a multiplayer match against other players because of just how mobile they are, and the fact that they can kind of, there's blotches of clouds up in the sky, which is kind of cool. This one's a pretty big blotch. Usually when you start as the cloud people, you don't always guarantee to start on a giant cloud. Sometimes it's just your two hamlets, the cloud thing, your starting base, and then like maybe one or two clouds next to it. But this one's actually like a cloud island of sorts, because there's a bunch of like all over the map there'll be like cloud island places, and they'll have like little buildings like this on them. Sometimes they'll be cool like keep. Sometimes there's keeps that you can capture, and sometimes there's like the equivalent to the towers, these towers, but they're like sky towers. There's also a couple other little extra things, like as you can see there's like sky flowers and whatever. There's also like cloud forests. There's also like citadels up here sometimes, like churches or whatnot. The cloud people don't actually use the churches at all, so they're only for other factions that can make it up here. But oh, he does have a army up here. Now, he doesn't have a caster, so we can easily take this on. The big problem is he moved on to a mushroom tile. And unfortunately, I've had it before. If you ever stand on a cloud tile for a couple turns, there's a chance that you'll get teleported somewhere because like the Fae move you around. So I don't like ending on a mushroom tile for that reason, because I've been screwed over and been teleported. And how it works is, I don't think it works in every season. I think fall might be one of the seasons it doesn't work in. I think it only works, it might be only in spring and potentially summer. But there's a chance that the Fae will like move you, and they'll move you to another random mushroom tile somewhere. So it could be this mushroom tile, it could be, did I find any down here? It could be that mushroom tile, it could be any mushroom tile anywhere. There's also mushrooms that spawn down here too. As well as, I think Gaia also has mushrooms in it. This plane might also have mushrooms in it. I don't think the underworld does. But, yeah, you just have a random chance to show up in another random mushroom. Well, it might just be the fairy circles. I don't know if it's all mushrooms. The fairy circle might teleport you to all mushrooms, I'm not sure. But you don't want to stand on them, because I've had it where I teleport somewhere, and then now I have an army just like way over somewhere else, way away from where I need to be capturing things and defending my territory, so I'm a little traumatized by the mushrooms. Oh geez, a lot of stuff I could purchase. Oh, got spoiled. I was pretty sure that we were gonna stomp on them though. As much as the Cloud Army are very cool because of their ability to fly, they're nearly as squishy as a regular human unit. And they're rather expensive as well, so they're really hard, expensive gem-wise, if you want ones with actual armor. Because the ones with no armor, I think they might still require a single sapphire. That's the huge issue while playing these Sky People, is that they require a lot of gems to produce their units. And the fact that their units are pretty much as squishy as a regular humanoid. The cool thing about the Sky People is they have really good summons. It's just that you're going to need gems for those as well, so... because they can summon elementals, and they can summon sky giants, and they can summon Bird, like flying bird dudes. They can summon some ground units. They have yetis that they can summon on mountains. They have cloud people they can summon, like these guys. Okay, so we got rid of their other general, which is good. We want to take this hamlet. I'm gonna assume there's something that they got over here, since they're coming from that direction. The big problem is they get 3 movement up in the sky because they're not hampered like I am movement-wise, so they can actually scout out the sky a little bit better. I could detach my king because my king has good movement in the sky. It's just, if I keep him by himself, he's a little bit isolated and not protected by the army. But I could use him to scout out the clouds real fast. I just have to not run into some of the dangerous stuff that you can find in the sky. Because both the sky and the underground has some dangerous stuff, like these guys are kind of hard to deal with by themselves. But there's other stuff down here like Naga and elementals, both earth and fire, as well as an assortment of other dangerous things like purple worms. Oh yeah, there was a bunch of cool things we could buy. So we can purchase one of these things without, because you can only purchase one of these regular black text units around. But these green and blue units you can purchase on top of these. And I'm pretty sure you can buy as many of them as you want. They're not, like, limited. Catapult could be nice, but I think my ancient hurlers are just better than catapults. One to 30 damage. Yeah, they're a little bit better at sieging. The big problem is that catapults are slow, so they only get 2 movement. So if you attach them to an army, you can only move 2 spaces a turn. Or if you're running through cruddy terrain, only 1. Might be worth grabbing that, because I don't really have access to catapults otherwise. Because this is a mercenary unit. But it's also quite expensive. And I could purchase a couple things. I think we want another caster, because the one down here is gonna die eventually. Somehow he isn't losing HP though. Might be because of the equipment I have on him. Boosting his HP up. There is some very rare circumstances is that there's items in the game that remove disease, but I can't rely on that being the case. I think we'll grab another caster to be back at the base. Let's see what magics it has. Also has scry. Okay, well, we'll use this one to scry. Before we... Oops. Did I waste... Okay, I didn't waste anything. We don't want to scry down here because that's going to hit water. So we're going to want to scry up here. Okay, so there's another cavern up here. Forest fungus. So if we can dig through, we can explore this additional little cavern up here. We're just going to need a unit that can do that. And we could do that by eventually upgrading this guy to the next tier. Or we could learn some new spells and get the earth magic spells. We're going to need something that generates us more emeralds. We could also trade for them. Do we? This doesn't. No, that's diamonds. Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds. That's also diamonds. Okay, we got the mage. We're gonna want to buy the hurler. And then we get afford to buy an ancient commander or a seal guard. Oh no, wait, no, we don't have enough iron for the seal guard. We could grab an ancient commander just to have an additional commander in this area. I would attempt to take that on, but these things can sometimes put in a little work, so I'd rather have a bigger army just so that I can squish her fast so she doesn't tear through my units. Okay. Crossbowmen. Well, we don't have enough money for them. I'm gonna have to be careful that I don't stand on dispersing clouds. And then we can bring this guy back slowly back to go back down. I just want to check to make sure there aren't any additional buildings that he's captured up here, so that we can keep his resources as low as we possibly can. Hey, some snakes came down from up on Elysium. Okay, we don't have any additional special units this turn, right? And just the crossbows that we can't afford. Oh geez, this thing spreads disease. I'm gonna have to be careful if I want to attack that. I'm gonna have to have a, like, basically a suicide army go into that, because I don't want to lose my troops fighting that. Okay, we get into our turn. Ancient Pale One. Hey, the snakes took it. Oh yeah, there is a bit of a trek this way. Uh-oh. This is why I don't like scouting by myself. My king could probably go toe-to-toe with this thing, but I wouldn't want it to add afflictions to my... king. So hopefully it doesn't attack. Okay, it didn't attack. We could capture that, but it'll probably just capture it back. So I'm gonna just assume that that was controlled by him and isn't anymore. And if there is more stuff over here, I don't know, but I don't want to mess around with that. We're just gonna bring him back. Geez, he has a couple more soldiers now. gonna have to be careful scooting around because I don't want his army to get big enough that it considers that it can kill my king. So maybe I'll just have this guy hang out here until my king returns. So he can easily just come back down with them. And I could use this guy as a scout for a moment and just scout up here and see what's going on. Okay, as long as he doesn't spawn a general next turn and then move out and kill me, I think we're good. Oh, he's got another one right here. I need to take that from him. Jeez, there's another gallows over here. These aren't the most common terrain that you can find. They're pretty much useless unless you're playing the Necromancer, or I think the Barbarians might be able to use them, I'm not sure. There might be another faction that I can't think of at the moment that can use them. But you pretty much have to deal with death to be able to benefit from them. I do sort of deal in death with these guys, but their death magic works a little bit differently. Okay, reattach that to the army. Take this back from him so that he's not getting the gold from that. We got spearmen. I could buy those, but those aren't really worth as much. These damn stakes are occupying that iron mine. I think I'll go down there and deal with the slime on the way back, because with these units and the ones that I've purchased that are on this guy, as well as any additional ones that I buy, should be enough to be able to take down those slimes without losing too many dudes. Oh, the hamburgers are back. Alright, hopefully you guys don't get enough money to actually get a general. You can go down here and take that, because he owned that for some reason. Okay. You can quickly scout up here. No new units this turn. Luckily, this snow kinda protects me a little bit because it makes moving around upstairs a little bit harder. How big is this? Oh, I can't see. He's out of my vision range. I think this is big enough to be able to take out this, especially since I have a lot of the bigger dudes in my army. Probably will take a couple casualties. They don't have any ranged units, so my hurlers should be able to take out a handful of them fairly early on. This will give me 2 more, especially now that I don't have any diamond production because they took the thing downstairs. And it'll bolster my gold production by a bit. The only downside is if I do take this and the cloud guys do move out, they're going to take this for themselves fairly easily. Because I'm not going to commit to leaving guys behind to defend it. Let's go this way. we lost one dude. Probably that guy that's getting tag teamed on the bottom there. Maybe? Yeah. Good, good. And while I'm waiting for this guy to come back, one of the units, I could go deal with this. It'll give me a little bit more money. See, the Hamburgs took this back because they believed it was theirs because they took it to begin with. And then probably when they came down here, the other computer was messing with its territories wherever it is, so it's like, oh, now I have to go back and take those back because of how it chooses to prioritize certain things. Okay, more specialized units. Can't purchase them all in the same location though. Let's put the one with the obsidian. Oh, not enough iron. I can't even get both of them anyways. I can't even get this one. I don't have enough iron. Lame. Okay. Take that. Oh, something. I think the Hamburg got these things. Maybe. I don't know. Those were mine. And oh, the snakes must have been the thing that got it. Well, the snakes aren't around, so we'll just go up, grab this, go back. Hopefully they don't take that, so I can keep the production. Yeah, that's why I wanted to wait till I had slightly bigger army. Especially when I had these big guys, because these big guys can really tank a lot of those shots, because if one of those acid bolts hit one of my smaller guys 2 times in a row, would have been an easy kill. But we got it. Bunch of specialized units. We can get the hurler at least. Actually, let's build a hurler back at the capital. We'll grab this thing since we have enough iron now. I'll stick a scout here just because we have a lot of money at the moment. We'll just leave him there. We'll grab a hurler over here. Perfect. I'll bring you guys back to here. And then we will add all of these units to my army minus the general guy. We'll keep the scout here. And you can just hang out here for a while in case I need you to recap things if the sky people come down. We could also start trying to give him a little mini army and have him come down here and scout out the water. Okay. Time to move my army back. should easily be able to hold on to everything that I have unless the sky people come down. Because we've pretty much cleared out all the neutral monsters roaming around. And I don't believe any of them spawn from any of these locations. I think the snakes might have spawned from this, but I'm not entirely sure. We're gonna move up into the forest. Then we're gonna go boop, boop, boop. Next turn. Oh, it's snowing. So only boop, boop. We can probably start buying iron now, since I've gotten a lot of gold. Turn my trade into some actual production. Because usually you can stockpile enough iron for a majority of the game that you don't really have to do this trading stuff. We're going to deal with the slime and the snakes that are down here and finally get them to stop bothering me. Ah, the Hamburgs are back. We'll put another ancient hurler down here that I can come pick up. How big is this army? It's just a bunch of little dudes. This guy isn't a caster, right? No, he's just a regular melee general dude. They'll be easily squashed if they get close. Oh, there's some bandits. Neat. I don't have enough iron for that seal guard. Oh, the slimes might even just leave. They have a chance of moving up and coming up top. Okay, what we got for money? We can afford those seal guards. Okay, so my next plan is we're gonna scout this ocean line. We're gonna take that keep and then hold this area. Try to figure out where the Hamburgs are. We can also take this as well. And that we have a big enough army. I'm gonna detach the king because I don't want him to get plagued, but we'll also try to take this out just so it's not here anymore. And that'll be an additional 2 gold around. But we're gonna take care of these bandits right now. Easy bandit kills. Earth Raiders are just the regular dudes. Yeah, they are. Okay. Now let's check the sky real quick. Nothing new happening up here. Okay. Do we want to wait until we have my full army to attack this? I think we want to do that because I don't want to detach my... Oh, the slimes did come upstairs. Okay, this army should be big, easy enough to deal with the slimes by themselves without the additional dudes. Okay, there's something spawning out. There must be a bandit camp nearby. There's a node called the bandit camp. And if it's not occupied, it'll spawn bandits out of it that will randomly start walking around the map. Okay, we don't have... Oh, we have the Earth Raider. Do I want to put one over here? Because then I can make a supplement army over here. Now let's put it down here. See what magic it gets. He's still not losing HP, he's still at 19. I have a feeling it's these extra items that are keeping him alive, and it's somehow just bypassing the programming of the HP loss. Which is cool. I just don't know if he has a chance of spreading disease to people he's next to. Which might be an issue. Because I could just bring him with my army and just let him naturally die in combat. The Cloud Lords are moving. Okay, we got the oozes. They didn't really do much. They probably just got pelted by rocks. Yeah, that's their attacks are kind of annoying. Just did a bunch of repetitive threes on my king. That hit one of my basic units, then my little mole dudes, they would have easily squished them. Okay, we got another hurler at least. Hurlers. Oh, and I gotta... I can't afford it though. So we'll just grab some more hurlers. Hurlers are always good. Okay, we're gonna go... There must be a mountain nearby too, because there's some roaming dwarves. Dwarves spawn... Neutral dwarves spawn out of... I want to separate the king so that he can recap this. And then join back with the army. We'll add all of this stuff to the army. And since they have an additional move, I'll get them to deal with the snakes this round, and the king can just chill here since he doesn't have the movement. What spell did this guy have? He has Scry. He has Lava Summoning, but I don't have any rubies. So I can't summon those. Undead. I could... I want some excess emeralds. Because I kind of want to promote my main caster to the next level. Okay, Homburgs, you've come a little too far into my territory. Time for you to leave. You are not welcome here. Gonna start having to bolster up a little bit of an army over here. And let's buy some slingers. And now the Hamburgs know about this area. Get some soldiers for you. Pretty much just gonna have him have a little retainer army to deal with the Sky Lords once they come down. Okay, well, first off, start by taking this town, since we shouldn't lose anybody, probably. So we have a big enough army that it'll spread out their damage output onto a lot of the big guys in the front. And that's an additional big chunk of money each round. Yep, now the Hamburgers know about this whole back area, so they're going to want to come over here again. Especially once I take that back. Such a pain in the ass. Okay, let's kill these guys. That army should easily be able to take them. Okay. Let's take out this area. Did we... Nope. No more specialty units. Well, we lost one dude on this fight. Yeah, they got that guy in the south. There we go. Let's drop these archers back off. Can you purchase? Yeah, you can purchase. I'll stick some crossbow here to defend. We can also buy an ancient hurler. I wouldn't mind adding it to this guy's army because we clearly have enough ancient hurlers on this guy. You know, like so many ancient hurlers. So we'll just give this guy an ancient hurler. Oh, I need to recapture that. There's some bandits. Okay. I guess we can put some spearmen here just to de-incentivize anyone from capturing this. Yeah, Skylords are starting to take their things back. Okay, we can take this for another big chunk of money. Let's give this guy some more front line. Pretty much out of money now. That means we can stop buying iron. Because we need our money back, because we have plenty of iron now. come over here and help me recapture this property. Perfect. I think the sky people are gonna come down in a sec here. So we're gonna need more of an army to deal with them. Not enough gold. Curses. The bandits took this. We'll kick them out, kill them. There's a Hamburg army. Scroll of Heavenly Ascension. What does that do again? I don't know. I could purchase it. Sure, why not? I'll give it to the Ballista Commander. What does that do? Teleports the entire army somewhere. I'm gonna assume that teleports you to the Heaven Realm. That place is quite dangerous, though. Sort of. Sorta and sorta not. It might be worth going there with a medium-sized army. The big issue is that I won't have a way back once I get there. But if I send kind of like a disposable mini army, there's a couple buildings that are easy to take there, because I think they have like small villages. There. The big thing is like all the big keeps there have really powerful angels, and you need a rather super large army to take them out, and the keeps aren't even really worth holding because they don't produce any resources, and I don't think you can build any units from them. At least I'm not sure if you can, and there's only one structure in all of heaven that has, out of all the keeps, that has resources, but it's also the most heavily defended one. And it has pretty much the most powerful unit in the game defending it, which is essentially the god of Elysium. I think it's called like the Avatar of Elysium or something like that. I don't know. And its entire army. And its army is no joke. So there's no way we're invading heaven. But we could go there and take I think there's just some random villages there that you can take that produce money. I'm not entirely sure, though. But it might be worth sending a small scout army there. Oh, is this a caster? No, still just a melee dude. Okay. You don't stand a chance. Ooh, another little settlement. I guess we'll watch that just for the giggles of destroying a decent-sized Hamburg army. Even though my front line pretty much takes everything. And that's an easy cleanup of the rest. Okay, how big is this army? Not super big. Doesn't look like they sent all of their units. They left a couple behind. Okay, let's give this guy a hurler. This army should be big enough to clean them up. Decently, I think my army's a little bit better than his. Especially since I've got the big hurlers and the big giant general dude. Okay, we could go back and try to reclaim that, but I think we just want to push out and look for stuff. Oh, geez, they have a catapult. I guess we're not taking that right now. There's the brigand lair. That's what I was looking for. That's what's spawning the bandits. Yeah, figured that I was gonna lose some guys on this fight. Okay. That will keep them at bay for a little bit. Okay, I don't know if I just control this for one round if it stops spawning bandits for some time, or if I'm gonna have to do something more permanent, like keeping a small force stacked on it to ensure that it doesn't constantly spawn bandits in. Because I don't want bandits running around recapping my nodes that I've captured. So essentially I want to deal with this here, and we want to scout out and figure out where the Homburgs are. Cripple them a little bit, and then we want to go all the way back here, because at this point this army is about, I think, a decent size to actually deal with sieging the Cloud Folk. And if we can take the Cloud Folk out, we at least ensure that we're not going to have to fight a battle on two fronts. That way we can basically corner off, especially since nothing's coming down this way. Most of this terrain is keeping scouting parties from coming this direction. We don't even know if there's a player hiding off in this part of the map. But essentially we can basically have it so that a majority of where we're being attacked from is just from the Homburgs, wherever they are up here. And we can just make a nice little frontier against them. Okay. It highlights it that I own it, even though it doesn't produce anything. So that should ensure that no more bandits spawn unless they cap it back. We got more dwarves, which means there must be a mine around here somewhere. where the dwarves are spawning from, and there's a neutral dwarven encampment inside of the mine. We got ghost mages. Ghost mages! We don't got any special units. What we could do is, since we're only going to be moving one space, we can use Ritual Mastery. That's a bad magic to learn since I don't have any rubies. Okay, we got tier 2 magic now. We can see what we got for combat abilities, because now you can only have 3 spells. Well, I think you get 2 and then you get 1 every time you level up that you can add. Potentially, I don't remember exactly how it works. Let's... because I know there's some magic items that increase your ability to memorize more spells. So Iron Bolts is just a better 5 strike than Tremor. So let's take... right? No. Works slightly differently. Is it just a better... okay, it's like Stone Shards, but it hits 5 targets. Okay, so let's drop Stone Shards then. We'll pick up Earth Meld. I think that might be a crowd control effect. I don't know, this game doesn't explain how the spells work very well. Unless they're damaging spells. Then it actually gives, like, decent detail. Okay, we're gonna attack these dwarves. Any special units this turn? Nope. Get stomped on, dwarves. Yeah, that's why I like the hurlers. Okay, let's scout out. And the bandits are taking my stuff. I'll come back for it later. Need to find... so these undead are probably spawning from this keep. Special units this turn? Nope. We could just bolster this up a little bit more. Get some more melee soldiers for them. There's some special units. Let's give them another hurler. We can put the seal guard up here so that it's easy to pick up. Do we have any downstairs? Nope. Okay, we don't need to go back down there then. Let's take this. Pygmies. And the home burgers have returned. They must have decent income. Oh, there's a new faction. This is the Enchanter, I believe. This is one of the spells they can cast where they have these, like, illusion... or this must be the Illusionist, actually. They have, like, illusion eyes that they can send around to scout. Well, you don't send them around. They just kind of randomly wander. You don't have any control over them. They're coming straight into my territory. I think they're coming straight over here. That means I'm going to have to move this army out. to defend my territory. I don't think I'll lose anybody if I take this. Might as well take this even out. The ruins aren't the worst, or aren't the best things to capture because they don't really produce anything. But I will stop the undead from spawning out of them. We lost one terrible cruddy soldier. Let's see what actually happened. Because the only thing that could really kill them are these ghost mages, I think. That one's just a regular ghost. This is why I love the hurlers. They just do so much initial damage. Ah, I got a catapult. I could stick the catapult here just to have it as a defensive catapult. And then I'll stick some swingers here just to discourage anyone from coming over here. Well, the undead from taking it back randomly. Because that'll essentially make it so these things don't free cap it. Okay. I know you're around here somewhere, Mr. Homburgs. A wand of sleep. There's the Homburgs. I only have a decent sized army. That army might actually do some damage to this. But if I just chill here, they won't directly walk through me because my army, the computer only attacks you if they can actually destroy your army. Wand of Sleep, eh? That might be worth purchasing. Let's stick it here and we'll put it on the Seal Guard. I'll just have to remember that it's on him because if I don't, then he's just gonna hang out with a wand instead of the obsidian spear that he by default has. Right? Yeah, see? Magic Rod. I'll give that wand to one of my mage, or my mage that's in this army. And I'll at least give him something that he can do besides cast bolts and stuff. Get out of my territory, you Homburgs. Let's put some swordsmen. Hey, you guys took the farm, you dinguses. Okay, let's stick, oh, I don't have enough money. That's fine. These Homburgs are gonna be annoying. Let's go back around this way, so I can recapture that. So these Homburgs don't have any bright ideas. I'll move back down onto this territory. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna move up here so that they kinda, if they're gonna want to move around, they're gonna have to go through terrible terrain. I don't really care about capturing that back because Doesn't produce any resources. Map of the Inferno. Well, that allows me to see into the underworld. So let's give that to one of my dudes. Use the map of the Inferno. So now we can see, for just this turn, into the Inferno. Little bits of... This is just a small chunk of it, because the underworld is pretty much segmented into a bunch of different parts where the different princes of hell reside. It's actually pretty lucrative to invade hell because there's some pretty decent resources down here. The big issue is that these armies are, you know, rather big, and these units are actually the ones in the front here, not these sinners, which are just like random guys with, what, pitchforks? Yeah. The sinners don't, they're pretty much the equivalent of like an unarmored regular dude. But these knights, these demon knights, the imps, they're not amazing, but they're also a little bit tougher than a regular dude. These guys are rather durable, and they have regeneration, which makes them really hard to kill. And then the actual like devils can be a major issue, especially since they have high infernal magic as well, and they have hellhounds as well. And these are like slightly better imps. Oh, there's one of the greater demons. But we can't visually see any of the layers that have the demon princes in them. These are just kind of some of the random locations you can take, but you know, we've got like a couple mines with gems in them, as well as these like little damned villages that produce a decent amount of money. The bigger issue is once you get yours, holding them, and you can't walk on lava tiles without taking damage unless you have fire resist. But other portions of hell are actually walkable. The big problem is that the units like to roam around on the map, so they will come and find you. Okay, you can go... Actually, you know what? No, you can go back and defend. You can destroy this big Homburg army. I guess we can buy another one of these soldiers up here. Let's view the little battle. This army is a bit stronger than the other ones, but still not big enough to deal with my large army. That's why I love the hurlers. I got rid of the boar riders. Those are kind of the only strong enemies that they're gonna have. Because these little guys shouldn't be able to easily deal that much damage to my front line. Oh no, the strange mist has appeared. I hate that event. And now the map's all fog of war-ish. Such a pain. Okay, I think we're gonna deal with the sky people. Just so that we don't have to ding around with them on our back. So we'll just spend time moving over there and getting into position to smash them. Yep, and they came down as I thought they would. And that's why we're gonna crush you right now so that we don't have to deal with you anymore. I will merge his army with ours. Oops. Then I can give him a little scouting army over a couple turns, just so that he has a few bodyguards so we can bring him out in the water and look for some resources out in the water. We'll hide right here so that we can take out the cloud guys. There we go. Give them some slingers. Damn, undead army moving around, taking some of my stuff. That's fine. Once we've taken care of the cloud guy, then we can move over here and basically defend this area. He didn't have a very big army. Oh geez, giant centipedes took my keep. Those centipedes. Okay, let's move. Let's put a caster up here. And we can put an ancient pale one up here. Kind of running out of money. Well, that'll be a big chunk of my money back. We'll just split the king off to take that this turn, so I'm getting that back at least. Yeah. give this guy some more dudes. Let's go up. Okay, he's got a decent amount of defense. This will be challenging. I think I'm fine with fighting without the king, just so that the king doesn't potentially take a bunch of ballista shots and end up dying. So we're gonna fight without the king, just to ensure that he doesn't get crippled during the fight. Which means I can use the king to kind of do some ocean scouting. That should be enough of a little bit of a bodyguard force just to deal with any small amount of, like a small army of merfolk, or deal with a small creature like a crab, or not a giant shark, but a little shark. Some little sharks or something. Alright, time to watch the cloud battle. Well, unfortunately that spoils what happened. But we can see what happened. You're missing a lot with those boulder strikes. I'm gonna need to speed up because it's gonna take a while for them to throw every rock, do all their siege stuff. Well, they killed one dude, they killed two dudes. Killed one of my big dudes. Lost a decent chunk of units, 15. Got my undead dude. And one of my seal guardians, and 2 or 3 of my big pale ones. I don't care too much about the little guy losses, they're kind of there to just soak up damage anyways. But we now control the Cloud Palace. And we can purchase some of the Cloud Archers and Cloud Soldiers. I would capture these, but they're worth so little money, and the movement up here is annoying, so I'm gonna get back down. There's a shark. Ooh, an ancient temple of the depths. I definitely cannot take that on with this little force, but that might be worth grabbing so that I have a chance of spawning in the more powerful casters, even though I can't afford it right now. Because once you start getting temples, you have a chance of having the better mages spawn on the map. But anyways, I'm gonna call it there for today. Took over a big chunk of the map. Got a pretty sizable army. Didn't lose my king. There's a lot of games where I lose him pretty early on. He has stuck around for a decent chunk of the game. Took out the Cloud Lords, took their Cloud Palace. Now we don't have them on our backside. It should be easy for us to basically make a defensible fortress along these lines and have my big army basically be able to hold out, and then we can make another smaller army, start producing a smaller detachment of an army to basically sit in this area and guarantee that I hold all this gold producing buildings in the area, and then use my main army to kind of scout the edges here. We're going to want to deal with the Homburgs, which are definitely somewhere right around here. And then we did see a floating eye when we were over here, so I'm going to assume that the illusionists, because I believe those are the people who summon those things, I believe he's sitting somewhere around here, because those eyes don't float too far away from the initial place that they were casted. So I'm going to assume that he's sitting around here somewhere. He could be the one who's dealing with the Homburgs, so he could be right here, and that the Homburgs are like right around here somewhere. And they're constantly capping each other's buildings right here, which keeps making him, because in the early game he was wandering down here and then he'd go back. So this could be the two people that are messing with each other, but could have been one of, it could be one of the other dudes, because we still have two other dudes on the map somewhere. But anyways, I'm going to end it here. We destroyed one of our enemies. And I'm probably going to get into a position where I can pretty easily snowball, assuming that one of the other factions hasn't expanded uncontested by the other computers in the match, keeping him in check. But since I have a nice corner, it's going to be really easy for me to hold the properties and kind of snowball into a position where I can easily win the game from here, I think. But anyways, anyone who watches to the end, thank you for watching. Have a good day.